What's up, guys? This is Kephas.
Something's changed in the way we play video games these days, and I've been feeling it mostly in World of Warcraft, but I see it in a lot of other games as well. I think a lot of us grew up with games that felt like worlds, places you could live in more than just play through. Worlds that didn't need to constantly reward you to feel meaningful. You just wanted to be there. Maybe it was a sense of wonder, maybe it was the pace of things, maybe it was because you weren't being pushed to perform all the time. But whatever it was, something about that feels harder to find now. World of Warcraft is where I personally notice it the most, probably because it's the game I play the most. It's still a game I love. I still play, but it's changed. So have I. I don't think it's controversial to say that WoW has become more competitive over time. Whether you're raiding, mythic plussing, or even just navigating a class rotation, the game asks a lot. Not necessarily in terms of complexity, though there's plenty of that, but in a deeper way. It demands your presence, but rarely your attention. You have to show up often, hit the tasks, keep the timers flowing, but you rarely feel like you're truly engaged. Not in the way you were when you tamed your first rare pet, or discovered a hidden questline, or just got lost in the world for hours. I remember when hunters had unique pets, and you had to train them, keep them happy. When you had to carry stacks of arrows. When going back to town was part of the rhythm, learning new spells, getting food, upgrading gear. It was clunky, sure, but it gave the world texture. You weren't just playing a class, you were being that class. Paladins with their seals and buffs, warlocks farming shards, even rogues having to craft poisons. And I get it, a lot of that got stripped away in the name of tedium. But what we removed from leveling and class identity, we often just stuffed into in-game rotations and boss mechanics. We took the flavor out of the journey and concentrated it into a raid bottle. That's part of why I've really appreciated some of what Blizzard is doing lately. Delves and the War Within are a great step. Same with all the little events they've been doing. The idea of player housing and even neighborhoods next expansion. And even that little zoo they're adding in 11.2. It tells me they're trying to reintroduce connection to the world again, not just progression. Because here's the thing, I like playing in-game, but I'm just not part of that sweat culture. I don't chase leaderboards. I don't derive much joy from being good at a game in the traditional sense. For me, joy comes from immersion, from presence, from getting into a game, not just getting through it. And I think a lot of us play this way, even if we're not the loudest voice in the room. It's not just WoW either. You see the same shift in a lot of competitive games. Overwatch, Fortnite, Marvel Rivals. They can all be fun when things are balanced, when matches are fair. But too often they're not. You get matched against players well beyond your level or your team's level, and suddenly it stops feeling like a game. It starts feeling like work. Like you have to play as if it's the only thing you do with your time just to keep up. All it takes is just one smurf to ruin an entire match, and unfortunately, there are a lot of those. Even games like Minecraft, which you'd think would escape this in a lot of ways, kinda haven't. I will watch content creators start a new world and have diamond gear in 5 minutes. No engagement, no hesitation, just pure execution. And I get it, it's a 15-year-old game. Most of us have figured out how to do it, but when everything becomes so automatic, so hyper-optimized, what's the point? This is something I've been thinking about for a while. I don't hate skill. I love improving. And I love figuring things out. There's a reason why I love Souls games so much. They're built on improving and learning how to get the job done. And I don't even necessarily hate optimization. I mean, games like Factorio are built around it, and that's one of my favorite games. And the whole point of games like Marvel Rivals or even raiding in World of Warcraft is to succeed, to win. But when the only way to succeed is to constantly be on, when you have to treat games like a job, even winning feels like losing, because it's not really fun, it's just performance. And yeah, maybe this is just me being nostalgic, maybe it's the post-COVID slump or the natural rise and fall of game cycles, but I think there's something more going on. A lot of modern gaming is built around extraction, around getting the most out of the system, whether it's XP, gold, gear, or even content views. So much of it is about gain. But when gain becomes the only goal, it strips out the soul. It's a feeling I think a lot of WoW players express during a new patch cycle. The endless cycle of grinding for gear to replace gear that you were just grinding for. And you'll start asking yourself, what's the point of all this? And it shows that for a lot of people, there's not much intrinsic value in the experience itself. Now, it might be a little silly to be breaking out the Bible in a conversation about video games, but this whole thing kind of reminds me of what the writer of Ecclesiastes was talking about. The idea of chasing after the wind, the endless pursuit of more that somehow always leaves you emptier. I'm not saying that everyone needs to play games like I do. There are lots of people who really do find joy in mastery and thrill in competition. That's totally valid, but I don't think that's everyone. I think there are just as many of us who are becoming quietly burned out. We want games that invite us in, not ones that constantly measure us. When I think of an MMORPG like World of Warcraft, I don't think of a highly competitive small group dungeon crawler.
I think it's a pretty good plan. We should be able to pull it off this time. What do you think, Abdul? Can you give me a number crunch real quick?
Yeah, give me a sec. I'm coming up with 32.33, repeating of course, percentage of survival.
Oh, that's a lot better than we usually do.
I'm done. What? I'm bored. You're boring me.
Not that it shouldn't have that, but that it should be so much more than just that. And the more I think about it, the more I realize that what I missed most from older games isn't just the mechanics. It's the sense of presence, of being immersed in a world where things didn't have to be optimized to be meaningful, when you could just experience, and that was enough. So this video isn't about drawing a line in the sand. It's not about old versus new or casual versus hardcore. It's just a gentle reflection, I guess. A reminder that there's still value in the way some of us like to play, that not every game has to be conquered, and some can just be lived in. And maybe as developers keep experimenting, kind of like how Blizzard seems to be trying to do, we'll start to see more games designed with that in mind. Games that don't just demand your time, but actually earn your attention. Because the best games, they're not the ones you conquer. They're the ones you remember.
Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, let me know by clicking that like button. And feel free to share it with your friends so they can enjoy it as well. And if you'd like to see more videos, you can subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon to be notified as soon as new videos are posted. You can also follow me on Facebook, and if you'd like, you can support my work on Patreon. Links to all that stuff can be found in the description below. This is Kephas. Until next time.